Welcome to The Whole Story. I'm Anderson Cooper. Next week will mark 30 years since Timothy McVeigh bombed a federal, killing 160, including 19 children. McVeigh was partially inspired by the Turner Diaries, a white supremacist novel of the U.S. government and the worldwide extermination of Jews and all non-white people. Back then, it was harder to find copies of the Turner Diaries, but now its messages of hate and paranoia are everyone looking for it. These ideas are being pushed out to millions of Americans every day in different forms of social media. Over the next hour, CNN's Joni O'Sullivan takes a look at how easy it is to consume and spread radical ideas in this modern era, from the January 6th attack to the glorification of an accused murderer, and how it's enabling a new kind of American extremism.
The January 6th insurrectionists betrayed our country. Traitors! Traitors! Cowards! Traitors! Ashley Babbitt was a domestic terrorist! Traitors!
There we go. With the Capitol in the background. Sick tree.
The General Flynn unmasking, impeachment hoax, 2020 election. So this is your enemy list.
This is the deep state target list, just a portion of it. Some of the high value targets, if you will.
Who's target number one?
I'd probably say Nancy Pelosi.
Right.
Yep.
Ivan Raiklin is a far-right extremist.
Yeah! Just hit the deep state, right in the heart.
So who do you think was ultimately responsible for the attack on the Capitol?
So I would say probably me. I'm the one.
President Trump retweeted a memo from an individual named Ivan Raiklin entitled Operation Pence Card that called on the vice president to refuse the Electoral College votes from certain states that had certified Joe Biden as the winner.
So my legal strategy forced Nancy Pelosi to conduct the deliberate breach and facilitate the deliberate, incited entrapment of January 6th. That is why I'm responsible. Exposing the Nancy Pelosi Fedsurrection of January 6th.
He promotes the conspiracy theory that January 6th was a setup.
Some people call it a entrapment, a Fedsurrection, a parliamentary coup.
Your shirt, it has a list of names of the Retribution tour.
And he's got a retribution list.
The Biden laptop cover-up, the COVID-19 pandemic.
For those he believes have wronged President Trump and the American people.
Jim Clapper, right? Mike Hayden, Brian Kemp, Brad Raffensperger. The list goes on and on.
I prefer the term retribution. Liz Cheney, we're coming for you. Adam Kinzinger, we're coming for you.
You mentioned Pelosi. What do you think she would be charged with in this scenario?
I mean, it's a simple statute. This is treason.
Treason?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would like to see at the end of the due process, lawful capital punishment.
Will you be disappointed if in 12 months from now somebody hasn't been executed for treason?
I think the nation will be furious.
He says even I could be a target.
I'm not sure yet if you are or are not on the deep state target list, because I haven't consumed all of the information that you've put forth to determine what your status should be.
Well, we've been hanging out
as we ruin you.
As you what?
Just like you ruined us. An eye for an eye. Look up Leviticus as a Christian man.
We have a problem with Jewish supremacy. We have a problem with a Jewish occupation in our government.
Technology has transformed extremism in America.
It's your body, my choice.
A fire hose of hate is served to millions of us every day.
They are reviewing a purported manifesto.
Mass shooters publish manifestos online.
An absolute racist hate crime.
This is God's country!
Election deniers stream live as they attack the U.S. Capitol.
We are the revolution!
The fringe is going mainstream.
And Trump is here to take down those satanic cabals, pedophiles. You know this already.
With the cute military army.
Save the children!
Some believe we are on the brink of a totalitarian state.
Who actually runs the government?
Some believe our government is totally controlled by corporations or a cabal. and some see themselves as crusaders in a fight for good versus evil.
Let's be the American people spreading the word of God.
So I've set out on a journey across the country to meet the Americans waging this battle.
This is basically the Mangione gun.
To find out if we really are getting more extreme.
Hey, he's got the right idea.
Or is the extreme just getting louder?
We're not finished yet. We got a long way to go. But we're doing this on the very first day in office, and in just a few moments, I'm not only signing the release of the J6 hostages, I'm signing other things that you're going to love. Oh, you're going to be happy reading newspapers tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day.
Release those prisoners!
DC Gulag, let our people go!
You guys can protest and say whatever you'd like from the comfort of the sidewalk and the park. Please do not try and come across the street.
It's inauguration night in Washington, D.C., and we're outside the D.C. jail where people have been gathering for almost 3 years to campaign for the release of January 6 convicts.
And for the news who wants to know, is it going to be the violent ones? It's going to be all of them, folks. I have faith in my heart, brother, that all of you are going to be getting those calls from your attorney real soon.
Sherry Hefner is one of those campaigners. She takes calls nightly from imprisoned January 6ers.
What I can tell you guys is this. We are dressed. We have our bags packed. We are ready to go.
At the same time, I was receiving a call from inside the jail.
Hello, this is a call from Rachel Powell.
Are we rolling?
I'm in the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility.
Rachel Powell is serving time for attacking the Capitol with a pickaxe on January 6.
Hey, this is Donnie.
This is Donnie. How are you?
I don't know because I'm still in here. But I was told that with him signing the pardons today that I should be out tonight. But I'm still sitting here, and so I'm nervous.
But not everyone here is excited for the prisoner's release.
Did you ever think we'd be in a place where just hours from now...
I did not think they would get out, ever.
J6ers are going to walk out of here free?
Absolutely not. No, I could not. I would have told you, you're an idiot. That's never happening. But here we are.
Bree Chapman is one of the few signs of the resistance here in Washington on this inauguration night. She's been counter-protesting at Freedom Corner for years.
I would come down here with a megaphone. I got very personal. There are a lot of protesters for MAGA that will just, say like F Trump or generic stuff. But I have spent, I think going on 3 years focusing on these people.
In 2022, she destroyed a memorial for Ashley Babbitt, who was killed by police on January 6 after entering the Capitol.
Mama Mickey, we love you, honey.
Ashley's mother, Mickey, founded the nightly vigil outside the jail.
Where you at, Mickey?
Is the point to make their life hell?
It's not to make their life hell. They're making our life hell, and they're dangerous individuals. Here he comes.
Who are these guys?
This is Oreo Express. He was actually at the Capitol on January 6th.
He's the one that
and this
threw
is
the
his
flowers away on the Capitol.
Ashley Babbitt, I actually stomped on her memorial. Anyway, this is...
Trump is your president! Trump is your president! J6ers are being pardoned! J6ers are being pardoned! Yeah, J6ers are
So are you okay with this?
I'm fine. Let them show themselves.
She's a psychopath.
And here's Ashley Babbitt's mom, Mickey.
They all know that. They've been here. Where you
I know,
been? You're
I know.
late, bitch.
I've been here all day. I was in the bar with you, Mickey. You didn't even see me.
Back up.
I saw you drinking.
Back up.
I saw you drinking alcohol in the bar.
The insults go back and forth and back and forth.
Talk about stalking. Talk about stalking.
Move.
Before a police officer eventually intervenes.
Is it a trespass order? You know my name, Sergeant Jackson. For my own safety, that's why we're doing this.
Go take care of your kids!
Despite Trump's orders, it's getting late, and there are no signs of prisoners being released.
We need
to get the marshals. The guards inside are threatening force against our men, and they're messaging out, begging us for help.
Tony, I'm right behind you.
Tony O'Sullivan, who's outside the detention center where some people may be released. Tony?
Hey, Anderson, yeah, in the last few minutes, all these demonstrators all rushed towards the main door of the jail. We're not sure quite what is happening. Some of the people inside this prison are hoping to make it to the inaugural balls tonight. They have been told that if they're released. Yeah, okay. We're going to move down here, Anderson.
Put the press back, push the press back. Gary's right here. Everybody back up. We're back where we were. The lights, you're an hour and a half until this happens, guys. Back up, please. Set it up on the ground. Back up on the ground.
The night went on, but the releases never came.
I was told by inmates here that they'll let us out in the morning if they haven't done it tonight.
Is it sinking in now that, you're going to be a free woman soon?
Okay, go back to when you're 6 years old and it's Christmas Eve, and when you wake up in the morning, Santa will have left gifts for you. That's how I feel right now.
The next morning, Christmas arrived.
Glory! Hallelujah! Thank you, Lord! We always said you're a true patriot. Oh, my goodness.
Across the country, January 6ers were set free. And not just people like Rachel, but leaders of extremist groups, Proud Boys, 3%ers, Oath Keepers.
I feel vindicated and validated.
Many with no plans of going quietly into the night.
We've got the dream team. We're back.
The worst thing they did was put us in prison, because I'm now friends with all the gangster disciples, the Bloods, Crips, all those guys in prison. They love us.
Big O's back. People say you're the guy that put your feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk. It's just not true. I put it on the people's desk.
Amen. I got a criminal news network photographer, maybe a reporter. I wanted to ask you, sir, your buddy Donnie.
I'm working here.
Is he still in the ER?
And for at least one man,
you are now on my radar.
It was a sign that the retribution was about to commence.
I'm going to be scrutinizing you.
But at the same time,
Free Luigi!
it wasn't just those on the right celebrating violence.
Luigi! Luigi!
The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper is a 5-time Emmy winner for long-form journalism. CNN's best journalists share deeply reported stories.
How does it feel to be labeled a conspiracy theorist?
Am I? That's news to me.
Are K-pop stars discovered or are they made?
People still have to make a living despite the drought conditions here.
You're taking prenatal vitamins. You also are using fentanyl.
The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper, Sunday at 8 on CNN.
We, the people, want Luigi free! We, the people, want Luigi free! When I say free, you say Luigi. Free! Luigi! Free! Luigi!
I want to clarify, I'm not here because, I'm, so attracted to him or whatever. I'm here because of, the movement. I believe in healthcare for all. I believe we need a better healthcare system in America. That's why I'm here.
This healthcare system is guilty of far more murder than whoever that shooter was.
Who's the real terrorist?
Protesters gather outside a Manhattan courthouse, where inside, alleged killer Luigi Mangione has a court hearing.
What was it like seeing Luigi?
We've all seen tons of pictures of him. I think you could just see his more human side when you're seeing him in person, for sure.
Nadine Seiler is a long-time progressive activist.
We've met before. I've seen you at protests in Washington, D.C. Against Trump. Against January 6th, all that sort of stuff. Is accepting the violence that was committed against Brian Thompson.
America was founded on violence.
But by
America was founded. Make America great again. To when they came and massacred the indigenous people, millions and millions of indigenous people.
But by supporting the murder of a healthcare CEO, does that
doesn't that make your side as culpable?
I don't hear them condemning the Proud Boys, who he said stand by, whatever it is. Once they start condemning them, then I will reassess. But until then, no, I'm not reassessing.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
And while America's roots are soaked in bloodshed, violence in the country today is mostly from right-wing extremism. From Oklahoma City to Charlottesville to January 6th. There is simply no equivalent on the left. But when United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was murdered, not everyone was outraged.
I mean, this is a real person, you know? But you also gotta go, you know, sometimes drug dealers get shot.
What is more heartless than a CEO of a corporation?
He literally stood in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shot someone in broad daylight, and everybody loves him.
Yeah.
And I think that is a beautiful thing.
Praise of the shooter was roundly condemned on mainstream news outlets.
You don't have the right to go out and kill somebody and take, vigilante justice into your hands.
I think it's atrocious that somebody would think that it's okay to commit murder.
To say otherwise would open yourself to harsh criticism.
I do believe in the sanctity of life, and I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy at a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not empathy. What I said is that I felt joy in the fact that people like Piers Morgan and other privileged millionaires in this country are finally being forced to confront the gross inequalities in our barbaric healthcare system.
Taylor Lorenz is an independent journalist who spoke up for people who felt the murder had justification.
Thousands of Americans die because CEOs like this one and others deny essential life-saving care to Americans. I think it's hilarious to see these millionaire media pundits on TV clutching their pearls about someone standing a murderer when this is the United States of America, as if we don't lionize criminals, as if we don't have, we don't stand murderers of all sorts, and we give them Netflix shows. There's a huge disconnect between the narratives and angles that sort of mainstream media pushes and what the American public feels. And you see that in moments like this. And I can tell you, I saw the biggest audience growth that I've ever seen, because people were like, oh, some journalist is actually speaking to the anger that we feel.
The women who gather outside court in New York.
So you're going to see women especially that feel like, oh my God, right? Like, here's this man who's revolutionary, who's famous, who's handsome, who's young, who's smart. He's a person that seems this morally good man, which is hard to find.
Yeah, I just realized women will literally date an assassin before they swipe right on me. That's where we are. I'm sure you wouldn't like to be compared to a Trump supporter, but some of how people cannot understand why people have sympathies for Mangione strikes me as the same as a lot of media not understanding why people support Trump.
I totally agree.
It's because a lot of people are just really, really desperate.
They want somebody to take on the system. They want somebody to tear down these barbaric establishment institutions.
The people taking on the system are not just using the internet to spread their message.
3D printed guns is a phenomenon of strange internet culture.
They're using it to create tools to act. Luigi Mangione was carrying a 3D printed gun when he was arrested, the same gun prosecutors allege he used to assassinate Brian Thompson. He's pleaded not guilty to charges brought in state court.
I feel like we're in Martha Stewart's kitchen here. Put these in.
3, 2, 1.
The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper is a 5-time Emmy winner for long-form journalism. CNN's best journalists share deeply reported stories. The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper, Sunday at 8 on CNN.
American gun control. Is this a premature burial?
No, no, certainly not. Certainly not. No, I think 3D printed guns will always mean a certain death, a little death of gun control.
This is Cody Wilson.
Welcome to the age of the printed magazine.
Cody Wilson at that Texas company using a 3D printer to make a plastic gun.
Cody Wilson has built a website where people will be able to download plans for a handgun he dubs the Liberator.
He's the godfather of 3D printed guns.
So this is your first time printing the Mangione gun?
In our shop, we wanted to do this because we knew you were coming by.
We met at his factory in Austin, Texas, where he was building the same 3D gun and suppressor allegedly used by Luigi Mangione.
So you could make the gun and the suppressor in a day, basically?
You're doing it all in less than 12 hours, it sounds like. I've seen crime scene photos where it looks like...
I feel like we're in Martha Stewart's kitchen here, but...
We've baked more gun parts in there than you.
Are you surprised he's become a hero? That Mangione's become a hero?
No, not really. There's a real lack of these types of young guys doing anything. Because his generation doesn't do jack shit from my point of view. You know, they just want to complain about the situation.
Yeah. So we're going to shoot this into a bucket, is it?
A bucket of sand.
Goodness. Put these in. Today in Bad Ideas.
This is our first workplace shooting of this year, isn't it?
I think so. 3, 2, 1.
Nice.
Suppressor explodey. Look, I caught a part.
So what happened there? Explain to me what. So the gun blew up?
No, the suppressor.
The suppressor. Okay. What looks like if probably that suppressor wasn't completely center line, right?
Yeah.
And so the bullet tore through the shell.
A baffle strike on a printed suppressor is catastrophic.
Turns out printing a 3D gun isn't as easy as it sounds.
Here's another cause for concern with Mangione. Do you think Mangione would have printed a perfectly cylindrical suppressor on the first try, you know? These things, they burrow, they lodge themselves in your mind.
What Cody is doing here is about a lot more than guns.
He's got a library. Take a look.
He is a collector of all kinds of extreme literature.
Oh, wow. You got a copy of the Turner Diaries around here?
You know I got a copy of the Turner Diaries. Did you?
He's part of an American tradition of deep suspicion and deep distrust of government.
For me, this is a positive vision. There's more to hope for in a world where you know you can download a gun. Everybody knows you can download a gun.
Families who've lost kids in school shootings,
yeah,
who are generally in favor of broader gun control,
yeah,
will look at you and say, oh my God, here's yet another way of flooding America with more guns and making the place more dangerous.
And I'm sorry, good that they see it that way, because they've been elevated in our national melodrama as, you know, given some kind of political authority. For what? The very reason of their victimization? You know, this to me is the illegitimacy. You know, what's legitimate in this process is the fact that, oops, sorry, it's been legal the whole time, and now you need to find a constitutional way to make it illegal.
For personal liberty absolutists like Cody, the threat of a tyrannical government is ever present.
April is actually 30-year anniversary of Oklahoma City bombing, Timothy McVeigh.
What a gift to me you have given.
Tell me, why?
Well, I think McVeigh, as you know, was executing or effecting revenge for Waco.
Timothy McVeigh was a domestic terrorist who killed 168 people, but his actions are still semi-justifiable to some because he claimed he was seeking revenge for the 1993 standoff in Waco, Texas.
So for you to put me at least in a symbolic line of responses to that event is quite a gift that you have given me, and I thank you very much.
more than 80 people were killed when federal agents sought to execute search and arrest warrants at a compound belonging to a religious cult called the Branch Davidians.
Waco represented in the American public consciousness a definitive break, a moment where they knew that the state was more powerful than it should be, more powerful than they had allowed it to become. And so in American gun culture specifically, not just militia culture, there's an understanding that if you take it upon yourself to live, teach, and arm yourself and try to separate from the traditional American community, it's been legitimized for them to murder you. So I see Waco as like an important American moment which signaled the relative power of the individual versus the state, and not in the individual's favor. At the end, where it can actually hold.
It's events like Waco that, for people like Cody, underline the need for 3D printed guns and justify an unshakable suspicion of government.
So you kind of bought into the idea that Mangione was a kind of false flag setup type thing?
You can't help but, when you're just getting those early reports,
Right.
you can't help but think, well, what's the connection to, American political life? What does the deep state want?
Do you still believe any of that?
What is the deep state trying to get? The more I see it, the more it's like you got to hold two beliefs at the same time. This guy looks totally cracked to me, just looks like totally nuts. And then at the same time, it has these elements of polish and choreography, which are just difficult to dismiss.
People watching this would be like, that's f***ing crazy, but...
Yeah, but come on, conspiracy is a part of American life.
Of course, tell me, I know all about it. Keeps me employed.
Cody publishing online his plans for 3D guns and his battles with the courts over censorship are the modern-day equivalent of the Anarchist Cookbook, a now banned 1970s guidebook on how to make homemade explosives that was linked to numerous attacks.
As I understand, that guy ultimately regretted what he did. A kind of youthful indiscretion or something. That's not what's happening here. Although I still respect what the Anarchist Cookbook is and the fact that it had to be defended against repeated attempts at censorship, even to this day. And for that.
No one wants to be censored, and access to information that was once considered too dangerous or too taboo is more accessible than ever.
I named the podcast Fighting Back. I feel like we have to fight back what we're told we're allowed to do. Right. Lock the cage, lock the cage.
Jake Shields has been in this game a long time.
We went to meet someone who is introducing his audience to some of the most extreme voices in America.
The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper is a 5-time Emmy winner for long-form journalism. CNN's best journalists share deeply reported stories.
How does it feel to be labeled a conspiracy theorist?
Am I? That's news to me. Are K-pop stars discovered or are they made?
People still have to make a living despite the drought conditions here.
You're taking prenatal vitamins. You also are using fentanyl.
The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper, Sunday at 8 on CNN.
I came to Las Vegas to meet Jake Shields.
Jake Shields has been in this game a long time. He's been at the top of the ladder.
A former UFC star.
Hey guys, Jake Shields here. I'm here with
turned podcaster.
Social media influencer. But all of you hit the f***ing glove.
Yeah.
CNN.
You could get an easy win here, man, if you just f***ing knock me out.
My fans would love it if I knocked you out, but I can't do it.
Sorry. Now I'm starting to feel nervous. Like all great MMA pros. I've never hit anyone in my life.
I'm not punching back. Hit me. Just go, bam. Hit me there as hard as you can.
There?
Yeah, both hands. Hit me as hard as you can. So try to actually hit me. You're not going to hurt me. I'm a pro.
All right, you got it off. Do you miss being full-time pro?
Oh, yeah. Of course I miss it. Bam. It's a hard transition to go from professional athlete, which is the highest of highs, to retirement. The podcast has helped. You could fall into depression if you just go from the most amazing career where you're famous and spotlights to all of a sudden you're a nobody. What's up, guys? I'm here with the notorious Nick Fuentes, Tommy Sotomayor, Enrique Tario, who was just...
Jake's podcast has picked up tens and sometimes hundreds of thousands of listeners.
Hey, Jake Shields here, about to hit a podcast with General Flynn. Thank you so much.
I'm honored to be here on your show.
Thank you.
Part of the appeal of podcasters like Jake is that they have long-form, unfiltered conversations with controversial or cancelled people who've been shunned by what they call the mainstream.
I just don't like to be told you're not allowed to talk to this person. Like, why can't I talk to him? I'm not saying I agree with his ideology, but I should hear what he has to say.
Today I have a very, very special guest, Dr. David Duke. I knew you're controversial, but I had no idea how controversial.
Sometimes I think I have to add a different title in my birth certificate because every time they mention me, it's KKK.
I really enjoy talking to what are considered extremists because you realize you sit down and talk to these people, a lot of times they're not near as extreme as you thought, and you have a lot more in common with them than you realized.
Let's go where we disagree a little bit.
Yes, sure.
Let's hit race, because you're a white-only group?
Among Jake's guests is Thomas Rousseau, the leader of a group known as Patriot Front.
So the organization only allows people of American ethnicity, and all Americans, I believe, come from Europe, so they're white.
Even the white nationalists were so much more reasonable than I thought. They weren't like, oh, we need to round up these blacks and get them out of here.
Americans, white folks,
changing fast,
are on the verge of being a minority.
And there's a lot of hate being pushed on us.
Exactly. Just being of and who we are, it's seen as being something which is despicable.
People will hear the Patriot Front guy say, well, you know, America is a country of white people. To a lot of people, that is hate. That sounds hateful.
Yeah, good question. I think because I asked him, like, well, what are you going to do with these minorities? And he's not saying, like, round them up and ship them off. So he's just saying, like, he'd prefer to live in more white areas. He's being very realistic with it, create his white organizations. And again, like, I let him know I don't agree with him.
Nazis are the Boston! Nazis are the Boston!
But Patriot Front is a hate group. In fact, it's one of the most active white supremacist groups in the country.
Oh, I've been all over the world fighting for Yola land.
Where are you fighting?
I fought in Afghanistan.
You didn't fight for this country. You fought for Afghanistan.
For me, it was the drums. My first thought was around like a marching band. So as I was walking, I remember just thinking like, what's happening here? The only thing in my mind, not their masks, not their shields, how am I going to stay on the sidewalk? How am I going to just keep walking straight?
Patriot Front attacked musician Charles Morel in Boston in 2022.
Once I realized that I was in the street and that I could get ran over by a car, that I was going to have to defend myself and make sure that my space on the sidewalk is guaranteed.
Morel sued Patriot Front, winning a $2.7 million judgment.
When the shields touched my skin, though, that initial touch triggered just in a blink of an eye all of this ancestral information that's held within my body. And I immediately knew I wasn't safe. I think their uniform is so plain or so casual that it doesn't stand out. It's not like white men wearing robes and hoods.
Charles's point was powerful. Patriot Front might not have the elaborate uniform of robes and hoods of David Duke's generation of Klansmen, but they represent the same kind of hate.
I had all these like tough questions for you. I'm still gonna throw some at you. We've been hanging out all day, so it's now we've kind of became friends. So it's a little harder to be a dick to you because I like you.
The mainstream media is declining.
No, exactly.
And guys like you were rising, right?
Yeah,
now,
you know,
right?
I teased you a lot about being CNN coming in. It was half jokes, but half truth, because you guys are in the decline. Because I think you've lost the trust. So I think you seem to be pretty honest and stuff. So maybe you can help bring the trust back of CNN. When you first contacted me CNN, I'm just like, I don't think so. I need to record. I don't trust you guys.
You know, with that point, I'm not here to lecture you about your job in journalism, but for how journalists would go about the interviews you're doing, right? So in terms of you having conversations with David Duke or Patriot Front or whoever, do you feel a responsibility when you have them on your show to, you know, push back, to challenge, to fact check them?
We're having an honest conversation right now. That's what people want to do. They don't want these like gotcha questions. It's just not fun. But I could push back a little more. I could research a little more, and that's something I'm working on doing.
I appreciated Jake's willingness to talk to me and his openness to considering the responsibility that comes with having a platform as big as he has.
What are your controversial opinions there?
His show might at times seem extreme, but he is finding an audience. It reminded me of something Taylor Lorenz had told me.
So I think a lot of people probably have a problem with me putting in one show Timothy McVeigh, the people who attacked the Capitol, the Proud Boys, and Luigi Mangione.
I think there's a through line through all of it, though. It's wanting to take down the system. It is sort of people that are tired of being exploited, that feel taken advantage of, that feel tricked, that feel like they were sold a lie. I talk to Proud Boys extremist people too, and a lot of these people I think could be radicalized the other way, onto the left.
New technology, a new information environment, and a new kind of politics is radicalizing us.
Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people.
And nowhere was that more clear
We're live at CPAC
than back in Washington at CPAC, the country's biggest conservative political conference.
Where's CPAC? I'm gonna roll with you for a minute.
Where January 6ers, now free men, received a hero's welcome.
And how's your welcome here been at CPAC?
We're like gods.
And I received a welcome of my own from Ivan Raiklin.
How's Retribution going?
So what's your name, sir?
Donnie O'Sullivan.
Why don't you say Donnie? Do you have that much TDS that you don't want to pronounce it as Donnie?
The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper is a 5-time Emmy winner for long-form journalism. CNN's best journalists share deeply reported stories.
How does it feel to be labeled a conspiracy theorist?
Am I?
That's news to me.
Are K-pop stars discovered or are they made?
People still have to make a living despite the drought conditions here.
You're taking prenatal vitamins. You also are using fentanyl.
The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper, Sunday at 8 on CNN.
Hey, look at this piece of... What a idiot.
1 month into Trump's second presidency.
Living is easy with eyes closed. Oh, so now you guys are aggressive. Where were you January 6th?
Whose house? Whose house?
Enrique Tarrio from the Proud Boys has returned to Washington, D.C.
We will not stand idly by our brothers and sisters are crushed under the weight of tyranny.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Dude.
I'd like to pass this
Come on, no, you threw the phone up.
I'd like to.
Come here.
I absolutely want to press charges, and I have it all on camera. How's it feel getting arrested again?
Tarrio is arrested but not charged for this altercation with a counter-protester.
You want to say hi to Enrique? Hey, Mike, can I invite you to lunch? Can I invite you to lunch? Ivan Raiklin.
Later, he and Ivan Raiklin followed January 6 police officers who have spoken out against the rioters.
Yeah, keep it walking.
You guys are traitors. Please back off.
You guys were brave at my sentencing. Now you don't even want to look in my eyes. You're a traitor to this country. You're a traitor to this country.
They're all in town during CPAC, the biggest conservative political conference in the country.
February, Europe 2025, we're live at CPAC. Dave Brass, my wingman.
We met Oathkeeper founder Stuart Rhodes as he was making his way into the conference. He'd been serving an 18-year sentence for charges, including seditious conspiracy.
We'll have to fight a bloody civil war or a bloody revolution to take our country back.
For 4 years, Rhodes had been the face of anti-government extremism to many on the left. He'd even been quoted as saying that they should have brought rifles to the Capitol on January 6. But now, a new day was upon us, where he and others wandered the same CPAC halls as J.D. Vance and President Trump.
What happens with the Oath Keepers now?
I'm not sure about that. It's a good question. I really don't know.
You're still a member, obviously.
Well, I'm the founder of Oath Keepers.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I want to do with that organization.
The characterization of the Oath Keepers by the federal government is it's an extremist group.
It's ridiculous.
A hate group.
It's ridiculous. Who do I hate?
Well, I want to ask you, how would you characterize the Oath Keepers?
Well, we are what we said we are. We're military veterans, police officers, first responders who swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution, and we're all about keeping that oath. What's your documentary about? Oklahoma City, or is it about Waco?
Well, it's about extremism in America.
Okay, so stop talking to me.
You don't want to talk about it?
If you want to characterize me as an extremist, I'm done talking to you.
You sick of people calling you an extremist?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's a smear. How would you like it if I called you a pedophile?
But it'd be false.
You use that label, extremism in America. So you put us all in this big the basket of deplorables, right? We're all extremists. So when your audience on the left and CNN says, oh, it's a documentary about extremists, automatically they discount anything that those people say. So, there's no goodwill there.
Ivan, would you volunteer to work on that task force?
I would be happy to volunteer as a participant to lead it. I could care less about any title. I just want to get to the truth. And you know what? Although a lot of people call it accountability, because my last name starts with the R, my favorite word, Steve. And unfortunately, not too many people like it, but it's right here. It's right underneath my suit and tie, and it starts with the letter R. Retribution, baby. You had 10, live primetime manipulative hearings led by, who was it? Nancy Pelosi's January 6th Fedsurrection Cover-Up Committee.
You mentioned last time that Nancy Pelosi would be top of the list. I mean, you think Nancy Pelosi committed treason?
Let me ask the people around here. Who thinks Nancy Pelosi committed treason?
Newsom.
There's a growing number of folks that want maximum punishment. Maximum punishment. And the maximum punishment that we have in our legal constitutional framework that we all abide by.
Maximum is execution, right?
Maximum is capital punishment, okay? And so you never responded to me. Where are your loyalties? Are they to Ireland? Are they to the United States of America? Or are they to the Criminal News Network? Are you nominating yourself to be on the deep state target list?
Do you think I should be?
Well, you're not answering any questions that will automatically make me not even want to investigate you.
Yeah.
Should I be investigating you?
Who do you think you should be investigating?
I'm waiting.
All right, well, thanks for your time, Ivan. We appreciate you. Yeah, we're done.
I'd heard many times on my journey that America has always been a place where the extreme is inherent.
I don't think that most people are inherent pacifists. I think most people feel like violence is justified in certain instances.
Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, pacifist kinds of people.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they were all killed.
And yet we do seem to be in a special kind of moment in this country.
We've come to a point where the Constitution doesn't matter, the laws don't matter, the court doesn't matter.
They're finding all of these fake voters. Illegals are voting.
Where the gatekeepers of information are no more.
People with a limp and somebody who's got a lazy eye.
Where rioters' records are wiped clear.
USA!
Where hate is no longer dressed up.
Have we been smitten from the earth? No.
And where extremism has a pretty face.
We definitely know who wins Time's Sexiest Alleged Murderer of the Year.
To a point where even the most extreme among us can't or won't acknowledge how extreme they've become.
You embrace what they call you. When I was in prison, I got terrorist tattooed right here on my chest.
you know what? Screw it. You want to call me that? That's okay with me. It doesn't bother me.
Extremism is its own kind of thing, man. Like, hang around long enough, 10 years of extremism, you find yourself the conservative of your own movement.